to everybody. Thank you for coming. So in a few seconds we'll be connecting with my cousin Wanda from Italy, just to give you a first greeting to welcome you. Unfortunately, she has not been here for the problem, a very big accident. So he's just on the phone to say you thank you very much for coming. Hello?
Hi.
Ciao Wanda.
Hi. Hi everyone. A warm welcome to IDS from me. It's very strange to welcome somebody in Toronto from a very tiny village in the Alps in Italy, but that's what technology allows. My deepest regret and my apologize for not being able to be there, but to be able to welcome you personally. But there was things that were unforeseen, and I have serious health problems. I couldn't fly and I couldn't be with you. So I'm restricted to talking to you from my bedroom in my hometown. Anyway, I'm sorry not to be in your great country. I was dreaming to be coming to Canada, and when I've been offered this opportunity, I was really feeling happy because it was one of my dreams to come to Canada and to see the IDS. So it's a great pleasure and opportunity for us to be there, and I'm so happy that my cousin was able to take my place and be this so good and worthy replacement. Let me say you once more thank you for being here, let's say there, and enjoy the show. I'm more than sure that you'll get inspiration, because what we do is a kind of a dream. So breathe our dream and I'll be with you. Thank you again, and hope to see you in the future somewhere around Milan from our showroom. And I thank you very much. Please enjoy the show.
Ciao Wanda, take care.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, so here we are. I think that to try to speak, to tell you about MissoniHome, and we start obviously from Missoni. So these two brands are so linked and are referring obviously to Rosita. Rosita is born in 1931 in our place, that is Gola Secca, is really a small village in the north part of Italy, and is located on the Ticino River. It's really a nice place just in front of the Alps, and so this is something that has a meaning from the inspiration also to Rosita, because she is usual to say that the inspiration comes from everything and every time. So she's in love for home, that for Ferrari is always alive and is changing every day. So this is also the story of Ottavio. They met together in 1948 in the Olympic Games, because Ottavio was at the beginning, before coming to be really an artist, it was a real talent in athletic. So he was a finalist in 1948 in the 400 hurdle in London. And Rosita, she's there just for a vacation, and then she saw Ottavio and she fell in love totally with him. So just 5 years later, in 1953, they got married in Gola Secca, and she started to be in love for all their life, and she started the business together. And Ottavio was beginning first to have the passion for fashion and knitting, because she with a friend of him, they start to have just 3 knitting machine, and he was in charge to design, to produce the uniform for the Italian team in the Olympic Games of the 1948. So for this reason, maybe we can say that Ottavio starts first. And okay, then they start to have obviously a long business together. The first step were in Italy, when we start to design for Rinascente. Rinascente, as you know, is a department store very popular in Italy. They asked to design a capsule collection for Rinascente. And from that on, the business starting also in Europe, and they start to make fashion show everywhere in Florence and in Europe. So after 50 years, in 2003, they decided to make the fashion show in Milan for the 50th anniversary. So this is the fashion show, and we can pass through all the creation from the beginning, 1953, up to 2003. So as you see in this show, there are a lot of patterns, but the iconic first. So for Missoni, iconic is always stripes, zigzag and zigzagging, tartan, Greek key, and multicolor stripes. It's really a funny thing about multicolor, because stripes, because journalists many years ago asked to Ottavio, why you are making just stripes? At the beginning, obviously, of their business. And he said, oh, I have just 4 knitting machine, and my machine make just stripes. So it's not up to me. And I think that this is really the essence of Ottavio. He was very funny, it's like an artist. Because, you know, multicolor stripes need to be really an easy pattern, but it's not at all. Because it's really related to the way that you use the color in the stripes. All the colors are to be balanced in the right way. Otherwise, it's something that doesn't work. So here, you can easily see the different pattern. So this is another one that is flame. So it's very special. It's very iconic pattern, because it's did with a special space dyed yarn that is really in the beginning an expertise of Missoni fashion. And so here we are, Rosita e Ottavio. Okay, so we can make a further step talking about MissoniHome. So MissoniHome is really started in 1983. The reason is very easy. Rosita has a lot of passion, because it's really a fantastic woman. And maybe the first passion is family, for sure. And the second one is home. So when in '83 she started to pass over the fashion business to her daughter Angela, he started really to think to jump to home. And with my father and my uncle, that was the brothers of Rosita, that was the owner of T&J Vestor, they say, why we don't start something about home? I would like really to translate all the fashion pattern in home. And so we started from the expertise for the know-how that T&J Vestor has since maybe more than 60 years. And we start from textiles, mainly textiles, so bed and bath. Then we realized that probably to look and just further will be more and more interesting, mainly for the export market, to change the perspective of the project. So home has to be seen really as a lifestyle. So step by step, we start to introduce several different categories. And so in MissoniHome, nowadays you can find textile like bed and bath, throws, but mainly living products like furnishing, furniture, and accessories. So nowadays MissoniHome is really a lifestyle project. And concerning project, this really lifestyle collection is becoming to be really interesting for different projects. We can call special project, like contract or like condominiums or like hotel. So here we have some images from the Manila condominiums. That is really a special project. So we can have a look to this movie.
Aqua Private Residences, the country's first residential Eden, introduces living design through designer living. With the launch of its latest tower, Aqua Livingstone, the first and only residence in the world, interior designed by MissoniHome. Aqua Livingstone interior design by MissoniHome. International haute couture living only from Century Properties.
So this is a project that started in 2009, and it's really a nice project because I mean that it's really the way to introduce the way to wear home or spaces from MissoniHome. Because they ask us just to be there like interior decoration. And so we work on the lounge, we work on the common areas, we work on bar or any space of this building, and obviously also on the different units. So the property asks us to develop several different units with a different mood, just to let the operation more interesting. And I think that in 2015 or later on in the beginning of 2016, the main tower will be up, and so we will start to supply all of these kind of units. So as you see, there is some different option, and this is very iconic with zigzag pattern, or something else like black and white, or something that is master design like that floral iconic black and white pattern. And this is another option that we gave to the people that would be interested to buy different units and apartments in Manila residential building. So the other big project that we develop is the hotel. So in 2005, Missoni signed a contract, start a partnership with Radisson Group just to develop Missoni Hotel. Here we have another example how is very flexible and versatile the Missoni home lifestyle. Because we, at IDSTalks, we have two different investors. One was in Edinburgh, and the building in Edinburgh was so different from the other, from the Kuwait one, because it was an ancient library. So here you see a different way, a different mood as a usual colorful mood as Missoni. We use mainly black and white because it was more design, and was asked from the property to have a different mood from the usual Missoni look. But anyway, if you can see, black and white is still color. So Rosita herself every day says that the best color is black and white, because it is really, and she dresses every time black and white, always. And you can see easily also in the restaurant, but later also in the bedroom, in the room, sorry, we have chosen all black and white, and it's really nice. And this is really in a fantastic location because it's in Edinburgh, just in the Royal Mile, and it's very nice. So you have the business center, you have whatever. This is obviously bath, and then you should have. This is corridors. Also, the broad loom on the stripes, black and white, is exactly in Missoni stripes, and you have for each floor a different color, just to emphasize that are different option, always with black and white mirror on that. These are the room, the different kind of room, so standard room and guest room and other rooms. So it's really, if you see what you can see outside of the location is really fantastic. And I think that this is really a good experience also for T&J Vestor, because when you have a collection that is born not for contract, but mainly for residential, it's quite difficult to translate the same pattern to be able to achieve the different requirements in terms mainly of fire requirements, but also durability that the contract is always asking. So it was really a long process, but we are really satisfied about the final result. Here we are in Kuwait, and exactly we have the opposite. So here the input by the investor was to be real Missoni. Real Missoni means the idea of Missoni that is generally speaking so very colorful, and it's very luxury. So here again we have stripes, we have zigzag, multicolor, not just black and white. So right now the business of the hotel is just a little bit in standby because we are talking with Radisson in the way to be more interesting for the new investor, but we are sure that the MissoniHome collection is really versatile, and it's easy to use also for private and for special project. So we have on our hands a different project just to be defined, because we know that MissoniHome is flexible, so it could be transferred in different location, in different place with different mood. So just to give you an example, here you have very quickly images where we put location and MissoniHome pattern. So just to give you an idea that the collection is always different. It's black and white, it's colorful, all the patterns are really different and mixed up. So it's something that's easy to use. You can use MissoniHome just starting from zero, but also just to give some decoration objects, just to make more added value to something that is already existing. Obviously, what we have done since more than 5 years is also to develop the outdoor collection. Because for Rosita, she's in love always with home, indoor, but also outdoor, I mean gardens, for instance. So we develop a really good collection of furnishing fabric, outdoor use, and also furniture for outdoor use. So we can say that now the MissoniHome collection is really complete. So you can see lamps or vases and whatever. I think that there is a new thing that we could speak together. Is that just a few weeks ago we signed a contract with Richard Ginori, to come back to the ceramics. So MissoniHome, starting from Maison Objet, but will start today in Paris, will be presenting also ceramics MissoniHome by Richard Ginori. So this means that MissoniHome is really becoming a lifestyle project at all. Here you have again the idea that there are several different moods that we develop, because in every collection we tell a different story. Or better, different stories, because we usually develop 6-7 stories totally different, and obviously because we think that we could be they can reach different customers, different location, different situation. So this is outdoor collection with some furnishing fabric that are printed and yarn dyed and so different, but with the requirements of the outdoor use in terms of light fastness and so on. And we should be at the end. Okay, now I think that we can have a talk about design process. So design process for us means that it's always the way to translate the creative input by Rosita and Wanda. I am a product developer, but also managing the operation. So this means that when we try to develop creative input that obviously are so much from Wanda and Rosita, the main issues is to always understand and remember that it's just not a matter of pattern, it's just not a matter of creative. That has to be workable to the final customer, to the final use. So this is the challenge every day, to work with Rosita and Wanda to find a compromise from something that is really fantastic to realize something that is workable and is producible with a kind of service that the market is obviously asking as a main issue. So the process will start in January, and here you have just some pictures just to understand which is the process, because mainly we start from fashion archive or fashion ideas or fashion fabrics, and then we translate in home product. But sometimes the inspiration is also coming from everywhere, not only from the fashion world. So we develop just one collection per year. So it's a long trip every year. It's 9 months long trip, and we start with in January, just to make the selection of all the pattern from Rosita and Wanda, and then we choose which could be the trend in terms of colorway, in terms of material and pattern. Obviously, the pattern are always the main pattern from Missoni, but it's so different the way and the interpretation from one year to the other. We change totally the colorway, we change totally the material, we change totally the way to mix all these patterns in every stories. So I think that starting from January, we have always built up a mood board where we put mainly pattern and material, and then we start to work on. And really the difficult thing is that MissoniHome is really a wide range collection, so you have to develop the same item, the same story in so different product. So this means that sometimes some fashion pattern is not possible to be produced with different technique that for product for home we have to use. So this is a new challenge every time. And sometimes we use also knitting, so it's really easier. But in generally speaking, we have really to work out a different way to weave, a different way to embroidery, different way to make the dyeing process, to finalize something that has to be very close to the original idea. Here we are, Rosita, with a pattern that is really iconic. So, I mean, the process is very long. We have always two different events that we have to present, is the Maison Objet in Paris and the Salone del Mobile in Milan. So all the time we are presenting a new collection in Maison and in Salone del Mobile. In Maison mainly for the decoration, and in Salone del Mobile mainly for furniture. So we have one collection but with two different timing. But the main timing is finished in September, when we have the presentation of our network. And concerning network, we have to say that MissoniHome is really a worldwide project, because we are present maybe in many countries, and we understand that such a difficult project in terms of complexity has obviously to be followed very close. So the big investment that T&J Vestor has done during the last 5 years, 10 years, is to open property branch. So in US we have a branch since 2005. We open a branch in France, and office in UK and in Middle East. So MissoniHome is also starting to develop in terms of network, the e-commerce, and I think that this channel will be really interesting. And MissoniHome is also on Missoni.com platform by evokes. So this is some information about MissoniHome distribution. And what we can add is that the export is now becoming really close to the 80%. So when we start the MissoniHome project, we start since where the local market, I mean Italy, was the main market, and the export was just on the 10%. Now, after 20 years, we can say, more than 20 years, we can say that unfortunately, Italy is no more interesting, but the export market is more than 80%. So this is the reason is why also this is a quite complex project, and I think that this is more reached and more targeting to an export market. So I hope also that we will start with your fantastic country a good relation very, very soon. So at least talking about trends, would like to see with you, this is really the preview of the collection 2015. So the collection that we are presenting since 10 hours in Paris, and was also speaking by Vanda, and you can see easily how is composed the collection. So in this video, you can see easily the different stories that is composing the MissoniHome 2015 collection.
Ciao a tutti. I wanted to start the introduction of the presentation of the collection with the idea of our icon. For Missoni, zigzag and zigzagging is the icon. What happens is that black and white for Missoni, it's the never-ending thing. It's the, like pasta for the Italians. It's the non-color, which is the main blank paper on which you write. It's never either black or white, it's black and white together. It's the balance of the yin and the yang, it's the balance between night and day, so it's the equilibrium. It's the balance. And so I wanted to start the presentation showing you the start, so the real start, which is the zigzag, our root, and the black and white. And how the black and white starts contaminating, starts moving towards color shades through a rhythm of stripe, which is the second thing that Missoni was famous for, or is famous for. And what is this? It's the development of the icon on one of the things that we think it's becoming really, truly important for Missoni. Outdoor, where people dare doing things, where people dare more putting colors, where people feel more free to face pattern and color. And so here we are with the new theme that we developed for this year for the outdoor, which is called Poppy Outdoor. And here is the idea of an icon and of stripes that moves, and with the poppy, which is the leitmotif in sense of flower. You always know that in every theme we build up, there's always a graphic sign, a stripe, and a flower. The main ingredients for a dish, in the sense of, for a Missoni story, is always chevron, graphic, or a chevron, a wave, or a fretwork, stripe, and flower. And so here is the flower of the theme. It's the poppy. There are diagonal stripes underneath, so that's a print. There are stripes young dyed, mold dyed stripe. And what you see on the floor, it's dopo, quello uso dopo. There is a carpet, an outdoor striped carpet. So here, during the realization of the picture we prepared for you this time, we tried to show the possible completely different customer you might be trying to get. So you will have a completely different approach in the sense of decoration. So this is a very, very modern house on, these are the fabrics that I was talking to you about, on the Lake Maggiore. And so this is the theme that we are talking about, which comprehends also beach towels. This is the idea of this very modern house on the lake. These are our Jalamar chairs with this diagonal flower on top. That's the new idea of beach towel, the one that we always say it's the newborn way of doing beach towels, light, linen, easy to carry on small luggage for this last vacation weekends, long weekends at the sea. Again, one aspect of this wonderful place, what you see in the back, is the Borromeo Island on the Lake Maggiore. And these are our virgola with the two interpretation of this outdoor fabric, which is double face, which way, either way, you can use it either way, and the result is like black background or white background, depending on the sense you will upholster your object. That's our petal with the new terry. This stripe, it's running around the collection. So you'll see it in the throw, you'll see it in the beach towel, you'll see it in the furniture, you'll see it on bathrobes. We like to, as you know, play with signs, enlarge them, reduce them, and make a game of black and white in one sense, reversible, and multicolor in the other one. Again, this nice view. The stripe of before becomes small and go into the bathrobes and dresses up beach towels in our garden, on our hammock. It goes into a cushion, satin cushion, and it helps our cordula leather chair and table. This is the next story we'll talk about. It's the lilium multicolor. As you know, as I said before, we always have a flower that we want to explore, and this year it's a poppy and it's the lilium. So the poppy, we have seen the poppy outdoor, and now we see the lilium. You have on this sofa a very, very nice jacquard fabric, which is shading, and you can use it both ways. So on our Intil modular, you see the back cushion, which is done with the reverse fabric, and the rest of this very nice sofa is done with the front part. And you have a new version of this fantastic lace shading color, which was called Oman, the white version del pizzo. Pasadena. See, the white background. This is the multicolor with black background. His version in black. It's the night and the day. This is a close-up of this wonderful fabric. And this is how we are thinking also to show a theme. So maybe as this lilium multicolor is a very strong pattern, we were thinking to suggest the use in a different way. We usually put it on sofas which sometimes make it a little bit too difficult. So this time we're thinking that it might be easier to try to present it as an accessory of the situation. So as a paravent, as a backdrop image, as a blown up version on the floor, and to just go accessorizing with this sign. As you can see here on the floor, with a bath mat, and this new terry, which is very nice because I'll show you after. It's a multi-purpose, a multi-use terry. You can fold it and have different aspects of the same. It's the same terry, and the way you fold it and you roll it looks like black and white or like a multicolor. And here we have again the nice stripe. And this is the bed sheet. So as you saw before, we had it on the paravent, and we had it on the poof on the floor, and now it's on the bed linen. And the stripe, it's moving on a throw. And this is how it moves into a bed, and the stripe becomes transparent and becomes a curtain. And here you have a wonderful situation in this fantastic modern, very, very modern house. And you have the play of those stripes on the sateen, on the poof, on the outdoor carpet, and on the shears. Here we have a new way of doing bedding. I was trying to think, how could we be more different in that sense? Because we usually try and describe beds through patterns, and we could never actually go describing a bed through textures and material, and also giving an easier, more comfortable kind of cozy way of sleeping. And this is the item we developed this year in the 3 colorway of the collection, the master collection. And it's a linen blend, Jacquard, a tubular Jacquard. It's a very, very nice result. And it's an easy care product. So you don't need, you just wash it and put it on, and you no need to iron. So fantastic, girls. It's no nightmares. No need of the maid or the... That's the second colorway, which introduces us to this more neutral way of interpreting the bedding, more masculine, more modern, less, which is the version of the lilium, not multicolor, but tonal. And this is the same design as before, but just the outline. So we are whispering the lilium, we're not shouting it. And we decided to take just a section of those color, just the neutral one with some hints of turquoise and maybe of gray, powder gray, and of taupe, to make it more interesting and to give it a little bit of a luxurious hint. That's the curtain. It's a heavy curtain that can coordinate the thing. And that's one of the Jacquard fabric you've seen upstairs on the sofa, which belong to the story, which builds up the story. It's a very, very nice idea where this lilium dresses up Missoni. So you've got a Missoni zigzag lilium, you've got the negative, positive aspect in Pois, and you will see it after. Here you've got a very nice interpretation of our Gravita sofa, with this chevron that it's moving into a skin, an animal skin. It's a little bit of a camouflage, animalier. It's a little bit of a non-formal, informal, modern, and chic, because what you have seen upstairs, and you might not really appreciate from the picture, is that we are having a very nice texture of lurex, very discreet, shining through the weaves. And so it's a very nice, but how can I say, discreet way of describing our icon. This is the same that we saw in the outdoor, but it's done in a very new way. So we usually would have done black and white, but this time we thought about brown and cream, which is making the black and white become softer, and in some kind of way more precious, luxurious, less modern maybe, but more precious. And this is one of the new throw, those kind of weight of throw that we would suggest even where we don't really need throws because they're not a heating purpose, they're just decorative items. And so the thing is, this is a linen, it's a very light one, so it would be helping to decorate situation even in the very hot countries where people would never buy a throw of ours because it's too warm, hot, and it won't be able to be shown or sold. This is the aspect of the embroidery of this lilium, which I find very precious. And this is again a close-up of this situation where our nap is developed with this group of lilium interpreted in different ways. You've got this zigzag lilium with a background in satin, so it seems like the liliums are popping up from the background. Even the one that we have in the background over there, it's the outlined version, and you have a play of weave which is showing the background like a shiny, brilliant surface on top of which those flowers are laying down on a matte version. We have a new, very nice velvet. It's the final aspect look like corduroy. Instead, it's a Jacquard velvet. It's a cotton and viscose, and it's a double color one. And here we have the version of the nap that I told you upstairs in the night. And that's the way it looks with this with the play of patchwork of those patterns together.
Okay, I hope that you have appreciated some images of the new trends for 2015. And as the last thing, as the last present, I would like just to share with you the backstage of this movie that was really interesting and funny, that all the people are asking us, but what happened on the backstage of the image catalog? So this time we have made this making of that I would like just to show to you. And thank you for your be there, and I hope to be there also next year. Thank you so much.
Sony.
Thank you very much.